The life that you have at the moment could be around 47 times better. Safer, more protected, more abundant, healthier, more energy. Pretty much, like I said, 47 times. If you didn't know what was going on right now, from one human being to another, I just want to let you know that I was very sick. That's not the point, but I had to go and do a research project because of that illness. And from one human to another, while I was doing that research, this was an open-ended research. So open to everything, restricted by nothing. Like, I would not restrict myself by anything. I would listen to apps, go down every rabbit hole possible. And because during the process, I learned all about duality and yin and yang, and we get that's how we get to make decisions. And there's no right and wrong. They just go to different places. But that's what free choice is. And most humans on earth, because they either have been indoctrinated or they're addicted, like most people are addicted to something, they have foregone, well, not foregone, but they don't have access to their free will. If you are addicted to even a cigarette, food, anything at all, you are not a sovereign being. You do not have the ability to express free will. Now, we know that science is the spoken word is, I guess, a science, a vibration, a frequency, and an energy. And that's what I'm dealing with, energies. But because I'm doing something that's so open, I therefore have to open myself to every new and emerging field on earth. And that includes our own ancient spirituality and all the different religions. And so therefore, to understand more than anyone else on earth what's meant by the words body, mind and soul, but to understand deeper what the mind does, how it works, how it's part of the system, what are all the mechanics, and how does it work? Now, that's a spiritual thing, yeah? So no one on earth is going to have it. So I'm already ahead of the field just by including some things that the rest of the planet, the people who are entrusted to do the right thing by humanity, we pay taxes, and there are politicians who I don't think are actually playing their part. Everything's a transactional pay, but I don't think they're playing their part right in the bigger picture. There's some unfairness and fragmenting of reality there because of what's going on. Anyway, we are here on a planet, okay? Regardless of whether you think it's flat, round, whatever. I'm not going to get into any of those conspiracies, but what I will get into and what I will say is that a lot of the conspiracies, over 50% of all the conspiracies that you can think of, are not conspiracies. They are consciousness. When I'm talking about consciousness, I'm talking about that soul part of you, and I'm talking about basically, right, energy. So I'm talking about awareness, okay? There's a level of awareness in consciousness that is higher. So therefore, a lot of the conspiracies in the past you thought were conspiracies was actually just people in lower consciousness. That's all they knew. And so that's all they could do on the matter. Whether it was negative, whether it was, not right for people, whatever. It was done in lower consciousness. So from one human being who was just out to find some answers for himself about my body, how it works, and all the rest of it. And it ended up going on to something epic that hasn't really stopped. And it's exactly, 7 years later. This is still going. It's like a spiritual awakening of epic proportions. And just when you think you've transmuted or you've done your shadow work or you've risen in consciousness and you stopped the pain and you went through it rather than around it or under it or over it. And so you went through it and you came out the other way and, oh, great, thank God that's over. And it is better. Each time you go through and you change timelines, you rise up, it does get better. But because I've got a very special job to do here, it seems like I was just catapulted straight back into it. So I'm here saying to you, I'm here as a human being, a real person, who has a child, who's lived in most states, done a lot of different jobs, just the average person. I'm going to tell you, I went just as an average person. I'm not anyone special. I'm not academic. I haven't done anything, crazy there. Don't consider myself to be anything special at all. And I went looking for some answers about us, and having no restrictions and being ill, to be honest, I didn't give a fuck. I was angry. And so therefore there was no niceness, fluff, whatever. I was just like, come on, give it to me. And I was impatient and I was pushed, and it was so, there was a fire inside me, so roaring, so I couldn't turn it off. It was like a flow, a tap of me seeking to get myself better. So I've gone through and done that, and I did it. In 14 days, completely healed myself of a really bad chronic anxiety disorder that I'd had for 8 years chronically, but even a couple of years before that. So it was pretty low quality of life, and it wasn't nice. And I guess from one human being to you, I'm going to say what I found was completely different to the whole medical model that you know. Where I got the information from is very well documented on a lot of my podcasts. And I'm just going to tell you that what it does is it's like a specific little protocol, program, diet, whatever. And it has all these elements in it, like, a cell regenerative diet that's very low in energy to process, earthing, frequency, water therapy. So there's a few sort of natural aligning therapy things. And then there's diet, which is the main part of it. But there's also just a few little exercises of being aware of the mental faculty and what you're thinking of and the picture you're looking at. And so it's just like a little protocol. You do the same thing every day for 14 days to naturally align your body with its most natural state. And what happens is your body, just as it does when it heals a band-aid, a cut, a bruise, a broken bone, every single thing that your body, when it gets hurt, every single time your body heals itself. It's designed to heal itself. Right? I didn't know that back then. Right? So you get your body to the state of homeostasis, which if your body was in that state to begin with, you ask any doctor in the world that knows, could I get cancer, anxiety, whatever? If my body was in that state, they would say it was impossible, right? There'll be some smart asses that want to fucking get into, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you now, right? You can't catch things if your body's in a certain state. Cancer can't live in certain frequency and environment. Is this like not fucking like sending alarm bells off in your head to go, oh my God, is it really that easy? So I was the first person on earth to heal myself of this full spectrum healing model, natural. It was able to fix a 10-year condition, chronic condition, incurable disease in 14 days, naturally. What is that telling you? I don't know why every person that doesn't hear what I have to say doesn't grab it and fucking go out and yell and scream it to the world at the top of their lungs to create some momentum so that we can heal the fucking world, because there's over 1 billion fucking people suffering right now out there and none of you give a fuck. You're all brainwashed right to the fucking tilt. And the reason why I was able to get to higher states, higher human states, where your body has the innate ability to heal itself, I was able to get there. And yes, a lot of the things that included in that are things that we do every day that we're addicted to. But I was able to do that, and it didn't cost me a cent. Not $1. YouTube, mate. Once you understand the system that we belong to, how it all works, part of it, and you start pushing places and testing things that, that you can't count on, like spiritual, practical applications where you get a response every time. These things are just simple and can be tested, and when they work, they work. But you are born into a system which doesn't include those extra things. And then your education system doesn't include those extra things, because we have to be generalized and we're just going to keep it real simple. And anyway, the consensus on earth is that everyone knows that the whole medical system was hijacked over 100 years ago. And our whole timeline of our healing, instead of someone going, oh, what's the best possible outcome for all humans' health, or even in the area that they're working in, which is what's meant to happen in most governments, especially now that I've been privy to be part of it, higher up in certain things, they do really want to have what they call is a global best practice. there has to be some form of transparency in certain things, and there is. But wherever there's money involved, there's corruption involved, and wherever there's... and look, isn't it funny, right? All the things I'm telling you is about being aware of, or this to wake you up, are all truths that you don't know. So like over 80% of the people all out there are just so asleep right now, and they don't understand that they're responsible for their own suffering and pain. And I was too. Don't get me wrong. I was a nuffer like you guys. And it wasn't only through healing myself, a very profound and big awakening, that you can see all the truth. And then you go, oh my God. So we all know that this whole medical system got hijacked, and at the same time the education system, which basically is just making fucking little drones of fucking, contributors to the system, fucking pumping tax through things. We're pumping tax so that these fucking idiot politicians can be played like puppets by the real faceless people behind them, controlling them and taking advantage of you and the system that their forefathers created to keep control and wealth within a very small group. We all know it. We all know the story. It's just that now with the information superhighway, the internet, been around for so long now that a few things have slipped, and control's starting to slip. The people that created this hijacked our timeline and made our health go fucking way south, are not around anymore. And it's time, there's cracks starting to show, and it's also time, from a numerology, from a cycle perspective, we all cycle to something greater, and there's no difference. But it couldn't have gone too much longer, because the world was becoming a very dense and negative, pretty average place for a majority of people. And it was designed like that, everything's designed like that. So you sitting there, allowing information that could end the needless suffering of hundreds of millions of people and save the lives of millions, tens of millions of people. And these people are sisters and brothers and fathers and uncles and nephews, just like your family. Just like your family. And they're all out there thinking they've got all the latest information on everything possible from the doctor. They've trusted their doctor their whole life, but the results are not improving. Their conditions are not improving anymore. And I'm sitting here with all the answers, willing to give it to them for free so that it will end their pain, because I was sick too, and I know what it was like to have no quality of life and not to want to be here anymore. So I'm trying to do the right thing and give you all the answers. I don't want anything for it. I don't want to be fucking famous. I don't want to fucking do anything. I just want to hand it over, let it become a merge, and the right people can do the right thing. But it can't happen unless the people that listen to my voice now can actually dig deep inside themselves and know that what the picture that they look in this world, what they see right now in the world when they're looking around, is not the truth. But to know also that deep down within you, You can feel that compassion and kindness is more positive and more fair, and would never let anything so negative or our timelines be, or our medical industry or education systems be hijacked for someone else to make money out of it at our expense, and then for the whole of humanity to not only be a slow-moving race anyway, like we're such a very slow and, change is very traumatic to us, no matter where you live. So therefore the earth has evolved in such a fashion that all we've had for the last 2,000 years is dysfunction and war, and things that will be seen in the future or look back on as the barbaric times. And that we will be in total disgust that we did these things to each other, that we treated each other like that, or that we allowed such negative influences and people take advantage of us by marketing to our very own biology so that we don't have a chance. So I'm asking you, from one human being, and only one human being, that doesn't have any form of influence. The only form of influence I have is the truth, the core truth that I hold, that I share, and that may it keep being shared so that humanity can heal itself and balance and restore and start to have a better experience, an easier experience, a more abundant experience, a healthier experience, a protected experience here on earth for everyone, not just a few. So stir it up. Can you imagine the ripple, the implications, and then the storm and the noise that goes all the way around the globe? Because this equalizes everything. Financial balances, different countries. There'll be a balancing of, the richest countries and the poorest countries will all start to merge and subserve. This is the biggest global movement for love and healing, bigger than anything else that's ever been here on the earth before. And see how just one simple little thing out in the water can cause a ripple that can then become a wave, that become a storm mixed with other elements. And that's what I'm asking you to do by sharing some core truth of what's available out there. I don't expect you to know how to get there and all the rest of it. I've spent 30 years studying all this stuff and going down rabbit holes and being sick, and, I haven't had to go to work and pay the mortgage and do the rest of it. Even the last 2 months, I wake up and I spiritually ascend. I go on research topics and very detailed work. No one can take 2 months, 3 months, years off their life to commit. That's why I think I've found a lot of these answers, because all I've done from a very early, tender age is be curious about, the thing that I wanted to answer was why we were here. And I know why we're here, and we're not actually fulfilling what we're meant to be doing here. We're meant to have a lot more than where something's been stolen from us, and it's time to take it back. Let's do this now.